Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Katie and I'm the Executive Assistant to our CEO here at Tiger Recruitment and also an Associate Consultant. Welcome to our Q2 LinkedIn Live and thank you to everyone who's joining us today.
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining. It's Lydia.charlesworth here. I am the manager of the private team here in our London West End office.
So Lydia, my first question is, what are you seeing across the recruitment market so far in Q2?
So yes, of course, at Tiger, private's just one of the divisions that we have here. So we also have our business support desk, our finance desk and our HR divisions. So looking just at the wider picture, I can say it has been relatively mixed across the board. We've seen lots of business placements coming through across the international desks. However, our UK business support division did suffer slightly as a result of the lack of certainty caused by the recent Trump tariffs. And this was further enhanced by the multiple bank holidays across May and lots of people taking time off. However, I have had reports from the team that things are really steadily improving even over this first week of June. So things are looking very positive and we do expect a much better outlook for Q3 and Q4. That being said, on the private division, things have actually held up very well. Even over the month of May, we've had many new roles come through. We're getting lots of requests from clients that are coming over to London for the summer, international clients that might have a secondary residence here. So a lot of them are coming over now and starting to need staff to make their trips enjoyable while they're here in London. We're also seeing a request in demands for these international roles, so lots of people requesting PAs to travel overseas with them or perhaps staff for their villas or chalets and yachts abroad.
Nice. So what job seeker trends have you seen so far in Q2?
So it's interesting as again we have lots of truly fantastic top level senior staff, so chief of staffs, EAs, private PAs. Some of them have been reportedly looking for new roles because their principals have moved overseas and they're not always able to relocate with them. If they have their own personal commitments or families here, it's not always straightforward. So we have seen sort of some top level staff coming through for that reason. We are getting requests again for those looking that they do want to relocate to these countries, but some of them don't have that right to work or visa in place, and without the sponsorship, if you are looking for a new role, it's not always easy. So we can recommend, with some of these travelling roles coming through, that you can be based from the UK as your main base, but just travel with the principal as needed. That can be a really good option if you don't have a visa or a secondary passport. It's been quite interesting as we are seeing a lot of requests as well from candidates looking for private roles that are part-time. It's definitely becoming more common from our candidates requesting that. I think a lot of people are now doing their own businesses or working on a self-employed basis and looking for that bit more flexibility themselves.
What do you expect to see across the private recruitment market in the coming months?
Well, hopefully the fact that it's been a positive start to the year, despite these sort of wider issues, I'm hoping that we see an increase in demand for private roles and private staff continuing into the coming months. I also expect to see a continuation in these international roles coming through. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And then, of course, with the summer holidays fast approaching, get a lot of requests for temporary contract staff, especially for those that might have villas abroad or yachts that need some extra support just for those summer months, and also for those that are coming over to London and need support while they're here. We do obviously offer our employer of record payroll service, so if you are an international client that doesn't have a payroll facility set up here in the UK, we can definitely assist with that just to make it a more smooth transition.
Are there any particular roles that are in high demand at the moment?
We're getting a huge amount of requests for private housekeepers, skilled private housekeepers, especially those that have transitioned from working on a yacht. I know a lot of principals like to mirror the experience that they have on a yacht in their private home and the standards of housekeeping and laundry and the decoration. So definitely something that we're getting a lot of requests for at the moment. And as always, coming from yachts myself, as some of the other team members, we can always advise if you are looking to make that transition. So do reach out if you're considering that.
And what is your advice to any job seekers looking for a role?
Again, I mean, as always, there's lots of competition out there. So just making sure that your CV is all up to date. List any courses, any visas, any flexibility you've got. Just really highlight things that sort of will appeal to our clients in this sort of market. Also, again, I always say, but just keep an eye on the Tiger Private website. We do update all of our new roles on there, and sometimes things can progress quite quickly. So if it is worthwhile, just keeping an eye out, just in case anything comes through that catches your eye.
And what is your advice to any employers recruiting new staff?
I think just to reach out, get in touch if you're a bit unsure about how things could work, especially if you are changing the location of your property or moving abroad and you're a bit unsure, you might not have a HR team in place like you would in a business. So it is hard to know who to turn to for, advice and information on this. We've dealt with many clients going through a very similar situation. So if you do need any information, just get in touch with myself or one of the team and we'll be able to guide you through the process. We are also finding that many of our clients, especially when it comes to direct hiring domestic staff or households, that they can be very successful when they hire on a temp to perm basis. We understand, how important it is when you're hiring somebody for your private home that they are, a right fit. It's not always just on the skill set. So, we can often advise, a temporary staff member that would be looking to also progress to something longer term. So we can, do lots of temporary roles that could potentially go permanent: housekeepers, butlers, private chefs, nannies, chauffeurs. In that way, it sort of gives you a way to sort of test for an extended period of time to make sure that they're the right fit for your home.
Yeah, great. Well, Lydia, that's it. Thank you so much for speaking with me this afternoon, and thank you to everyone watching along. I look forward to catching up with you again in Q3.
Thanks so much, Katie. Looking forward to it. Thanks a lot for listening.